Hi everybody, this is Cynthia Kane again. In this third video tutorial, I just wanted to spend a few minutes going over the learning assessment for this module of Plan and Gather, plus our engagement activities. So, back on our Canvas course, we're going to scroll down to week number 2, March 25th, Plan and Gather. I don't have these here yet as I'm recording this tutorial, but this is also where you will be finding our 3 video tutorials for this week. So we have 2 engagement activities and a learning assessment for this week. The first engagement activity will actually refer to an email that you should have received from me by the time you have a chance to watch this video tutorial. We're going to ask you to complete 2 pre-tests that are collectively called the Threshold Achievement Test of Information Literacy, or TATL for short. These are not graded, by the way, and we don't want you to worry about getting right answers or wrong answers. We actually have 2 pre-tests. One is called Strategic Searching, and the other is called Evaluating Process and Authority. With these 2 pre-tests, I will be sending you the information to log on to the test online, plus a unique student code that you will use for both your pre-test and then a post-test that you'll be doing in a few weeks as we end our course. Please take a few minutes to do these, and then once you finish each of the 2 modules, download your results as a PDF. You will have your results as you conclude each of the pre-tests. Then, as we said, download those as a PDF and then submit the PDFs below on here for a submit assignment. And the reason we want you to do this is that we want you to have copies of your results for these 2 pre-tests, but we also want to take a look at the results. We're not going to be grading them or anything like that, but as we noted here, we won't be able to tell which student had the results either. We have access to the key connecting your name, and otherwise this is totally anonymous. So please complete this to earn 10 points for an engagement activity, and that will be due by 11:59 p.m. on March 29th. So let's go back. For the second engagement activity, we have a discussion thread related to Plan and Gather. So first of all, make sure before you do this engagement activity that you have watched our first 2 video tutorials for Plan and Gather, because we want you to have a better sense of the differences among primary, secondary, and tertiary sources, which is very much emphasized in the Gather video tutorial. So in this discussion, we want you to list for a topic that you would be researching for this course what you think would be a useful primary source and why, a useful secondary source and why, and a useful tertiary source to help you find primary and secondary sources, and why you think all of those would be potentially useful. Ideally, we'd like for you to have some titles of primary sources and secondary sources of information. So please take a little bit of time to explore in a tertiary source, such as a database through our library, what you think would be some useful primary sources and useful secondary sources, and then be sure that you're identifying a tertiary source of information. Again, this is going to make a lot more sense after you have a chance to watch our second video tutorial on Gather. And finally, we have a learning assessment for this module, and it is called a research plan. Now, this is going to take a little bit more time, so we're going to warn you about this beforehand. What we want you to do is create something called a research plan for the rest of this class using a potential topic that you will be using for some other learning assessments coming up, which would include recommended resources and our final web portfolio that you will have an opportunity to create using Wix or another way of creating a web portfolio. So we have a worksheet. First of all, we're going to ask you to download and save, because you're actually going to be submitting the completed worksheet for this learning assessment. I'm going to click on Preview below and just show you what this is going to look like. So put your name, date of submission on here, and we want you to start by listing 3 to 5 potential topics that you're interested in researching for this course. Now, this actually could be a topic maybe that you're working on for another class. You're not duplicating assignments, but it might be something that you're interested in researching for another class, or just a topic of personal interest. Just brainstorm 3 to 5 potential topics that you'd like to find out more about. Then choose one of the topics. Talk about what you already know and how you know it. What do you still want to know about the topic? And then use your responses from question number 2 to narrow your topic into at least 4 distinct research questions. So we can start with a broad topic, electronic cigarettes might be a good example. Narrow topic might be electronic cigarettes and health. A narrower topic for me might be electronic cigarettes and their effects on helping somebody quit smoking. And then my research question might be something like, how does the use of electronic cigarettes affect someone quitting smoking or affect smoking cessation? Why or why not? So this shouldn't take too long, but think about how you could find at least 4 distinct research questions for your topic. And then choose one of the research questions from the chart above, put a star or asterisk so we know which one you're working on, and then spend a little time brainstorming potential search terms that might return relevant resources on the topic. We've covered this with some of our earlier video tutorials on planning and also just sort of browsing for information on the topic. So think about what you've already seen in our video tutorials, particularly when it comes to looking for synonyms or related words for keywords for a topic. Think about the formats. Are you looking for books, articles, encyclopedia articles for background information? Identify what kinds of formats you think are appropriate for your topic and whether you think each resource is going to be a scholarly or a popular source. And if you include both, indicate in 1 or 2 sentences the benefit of including both. Then we're going to have you go to the William Allen White Library's webpage and click on the Databases tab and try a search for each of your topics in each of the following reference databases: Credo Reference, Gale Virtual Reference Library, and Oxford Reference Premium. This should be relatively straightforward. When you go to the library's webpage for this part of your research plan, click on Databases. And since we have given you the names of the databases, such as Credo Reference, you can look for them in the alphabetical list. So when I click on the letter C, for example, there is Credo Reference. And this is one of the 3 reference databases we want you to use. Then I want you to search for your same topic in Wikipedia and keep notes about what you find in terms of relevance, accuracy, and overall usefulness of the information to your topic. Now, I'm going to give you kind of a heads up. Depending upon the topic that you're working on, you may not find information in all 3 of these references, plus Wikipedia, but that's okay as well because this feeds into the next part. From your notes, which reference databases and/or Wikipedia article seems to be most useful for information about your topic and why? So this is why we want you to keep notes. What worked, what didn't work, what seems to be the most useful. Then you will return to the library's webpage, go back to the Databases tab, and then click on the All Subjects selection and choose a subject area that matches your topic. We've covered that in one of our previous video tutorials. But look at the databases listed under that subject area. Which ones do you think are going to be relevant and why? So going back over here, if I go back to the databases and click on all subjects, again, if I'm working on electronic cigarettes and perhaps health-related issues, I may want to explore what's available in the subject area of medicine and health. So this is what we want you to do for this next part. List some databases that you think will be relevant and then indicate which one you would search first, why, and the types of resources you think you're going to find in that database. Use those database descriptions to help you determine that information. On question 8, what web resources could you search for information on your topic? So you can use Google, but don't list Google as your web resource because that's not going to be it. That's your tertiary source of information. You're going to use Google to identify web sources that could be primary or secondary resources that you think might give you more information on your topic. So there might be different websites, they could be associations, they could be an online journal, lots of different things out there. How you know about the resources and why you would go to them to find information. And then for question 9, assume that you're going to be using this topic for an assessment that we have coming up called recommended resources, which is sort of like an annotated bibliography. And then your final web portfolio. List the elements of the process you personally would go through to conduct your research and complete the final project. So this is another part of your research plan. How are you going to organize your information? How are you going to actually establish your research process? This is what we're really interested in learning more about. The first draft of the web portfolio is going to be due on Friday, April 12th. So consider the workload of your other courses and try to identify some dates that you think you would have different things done for your web portfolio. Now, these dates could be actually moving. We just want you to kind of get a sense right now of how you're going to organize your information and your research in the next few weeks. Add any other notes or thoughts. And finally, add a short reflection here at the end. Have you ever planned your research before, even if it has been just in your head, just mentally? What did that plan look like? Do you think that planning for research is helpful? Why or why not? We really want to get your reflection thoughts on here, not only on how you approach this specific research plan, but if you've ever done that before and how you think that could help, why or why not. So this is a chance for you to kind of make this your own. As always, Megan and I are available to answer any questions online during our online office student hours. You can email us, you can call us. If there's anything here that looks potentially confusing or anything that you have questions about, good luck.